double check stats real quick. History or cultural lore?
History.
Boogie. Just double checking because I don't have history. I just have cultural lore.
I have historical lore.
Do the things, curiosity. You're like, I've never heard of that before. Rolls all sixes. Wait, never mind. I read this whole book about it. I read, like, my instructors told me all about this thing that I have forgotten because I'm useless. Roll all sixes. I'm laughing.
That would be a 14 with just a straight intelligence check.
I got a 21. I got a 14 without my bonus.
You have a +7?
Yeah, I have a 5 intelligence,
Holy
plus I have
cow.
historical lore, plus I have the lore master talent, so I get extra lore knowledge. So Curiosity just had a brain fart apparently, but he actually maybe is hurt.
He keeps forgetting all the important information that he's been supposed to be doing recently, and he's like, wait, that's right, I've been learning stuff for the past, 50 years. I know stuff.
Maybe he knew about the event, but didn't know that it was them or something?
Yeah.
Or he just completely forgot because he's dumb. This is why you should always roll before you act like you don't know something, Kara.
That's true. He was just very disturbed by your glowing red eye. He just momentarily forgot because he was very creeped out.
Yeah, you don't like my appearance.
Why he didn't say that? You don't know that. That's metagaming.
But I'm just doing the voice for fun while we wait for Zeri to pull together what you actually know.
Hold on,
Clearly.
I'm sorry.
I'm entertaining the guest. So no, he doesn't talk like Jim. Sorry, but he does have a voice.
Oh, where did this go? Alright, I'm looking for a very specific item and I cannot seem to find it.
Well, the world is now ending.
It is, in fact. Almost done. Hold on. Hold on.
Wookie.
Wait, there's a deck of 86 magic items over here?
No.
Yeah, it's been there for
There's
ages.
fun.
It's kind of been there for a while, man.
Okay.
Been there since we had this board.
Were you supposed? Did you
Okay.
mean to send that to me or to Kyrath?
Who did I send this to? I sent a thing to someone.
You sent a thing to me. A sentence. You sent a sentence to me.
No, I meant to send that to you.
Okay.
That was for you. Okay, so Barry, what did you roll?
I rolled the 14.
Barry rolled a 14. Kyrath rolled a 21. Okay. 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 Barry, you know this because of tales you've been told. Kyrath, Curiosity reads a lot of books, apparently. So, you are, Kyrath, who's...
I'm trying to put the Ring of Fate back in.
I put it back. I put it back
Yeah.
successfully because you're.
No,
you're
now
fat.
there are 3 Ring of Fates in here.
What?
I'm gonna take away the toys,
There were only
boys.
86 deck things in the deck
I was trying to-
before. Now there are 88.
Yeah, that's it. Taking the toys away. They're done. Anyway, because it's distracting me. You are aware that there was a battle, a significant battle against a terror here in Quiddus. At the time, it was rather an important event. Everyone knew about it. But as 300 years have passed by, it's just more, and it really didn't. It was more of an existential threat than it ever became anything. You know that Ombirth was a dragon, the demon terror dragon. He was bent on total destruction and taking over of Quiddus, but something stopped him. That's pretty much all you know. Not much is really known how he was stopped, or really what his efforts were. It just sort of, most people just sort of know that there was this threat. People got prepared for it, and then it just never happened. Curiosity, you ruled a little bit better. You know, it's reached Rashawn. The mention of this, it's reached Rashawn, and you do know it fits in with what you know, which is that the current understanding is that Ombirth has disappeared. Like, most people, no one really knows where all the terrors are at one point, but most people understand that they are working, they are having their own goals and stuff. At least the other four. But the current understanding from the book you read, from what you remember in your history class, is that for some reason Ombirth seems to have disappeared. And it has something to do with the crisis that happened 300 years ago. No one really knows where he disappeared to. But it is believed that his agents, being demons, are still active in elsewhere. It's just that they've lost their sort of brain behind their operation. And this stuff happened about 300 years ago, so it's not really something. It's these things you're just recalling now as they're being talked with this individual, because they're not really that significant. Nothing really happened. It's kind of a strange, now that you're thinking about it, it's kind of a strange sort of omission of history, but it seemed like mostly because nothing happened, no one really cared, but it was still significant enough that it obviously made it into books, made it into Eretheus' teachings, but it was not a dramatic event like it was supposed to be. So, and I forgot to replace this.
So the battle was, as far as I'm aware, took place in the Red Dunes south of Zagata. You know of that?
Of Zagata, yes, we were just there.
South of Zagata, just Red Dunes. Anyway, I wasn't there, so I do not know the specifics of the battle.
Red Dunes? Okay, there's a thing south of Zagata, but I don't think it's called the Red Dune.
Is it near that death place that we didn't go to because we were smart?
And that probably is the place.
Yeah, I have a feeling it probably
The bone
changed
field?
names.
Oh no,
Yeah,
Red Dunes is way south of Zagata. Red Dunes is farther away from Zagata than Zagata is from Seashine. Well, about the same distance according to this map.
Anyway, so yes, welcome to the archive, the museum. It is full of books, as you can see, because we are archivists after all. That is what we do. Well, among other things. I like
That's
doing
a
other
lot
things.
of books.
Some other people just like books, but books are sometimes boring. Anyway, so yes, this is the
Do you
collection.
have any books on the Jinn?
You're gonna have to be more specific than that. I'm sure we have copious amounts of books on the Jinn, and why do you care about the Jinn? What kind of...
So Defiance never cared about the Jinn? He was never looking for the Jinn?
I believe Destiny was a Jinn, I think, but, he was friends with. But other than that, I am not really sure.
Do you have any maps of where the Jinn cities are located?
Oh yes, I'm sure I know that right off the top of my head.
You said I had to be more specific about what I wanted, so I asked if you have any maps of Jinn
But
City.
then when you asked it, it assumed that I would just know that off the top of my head.
Well, that is what I am looking for. I'm looking for maps of the Jinn cities.
That is not what is important right now. Please follow me back to my workshop, my room, my space.
Before you can get any further, you're interrupted by a tallish catman who approaches your new friend, and he says, "Hey, Ember, a couple of my supplies have gone missing. Have you gone anywhere near it recently?"
I kind of need to know which supplies you're referring to. Otherwise, I'm afraid I can't declare anything about the whereabouts of any of said supplies.
Well, it was a couple metal tubes and some spell stones and a small thing of black powder, and you've been asking me about that for a while, and I can't imagine anyone else would be interested in those things.
I don't think I had Jill's asked. I told her to get them from you, but maybe she forgot to fill out the paperwork. Potentially, I think that may have been probably what happened.
You know the rules. Even if you're going to send an apprentice to do it, you have to make sure that she fills out the rules. And now I'm going to have to do a mountain of paperwork, tracking it down, and making sure that those things are there. And Bar, I told you before that I don't want you going into there without asking me first.
It's fine. It's just a couple of things. It will take like 3 seconds to fix it. It's not. I have seen the amount of paperwork. It will take you at most 20 minutes. Okay. And if you would like to, I could build a machine that would fix all of your problems. An automated inventory system is more efficient.
Yeah, except that your claw keeps crushing the books.
True. The grace is not quite there yet. But if you will not let me use books to test it on home, to apply the appropriate pressure to avoid dropping, yet avoid crushing. If I am not allowed to use these books.
Well, if you're allowed to use books, which books am I going to let you crush?
Well, I'm sure I could suggest several useless and inaccurate tomes.
Okay, then none of our...
How about you use some blank ones?
We're a museum. We don't store blank books.
So get one to test
Actually,
it on.
but you know what? But like the fairy friend over here makes a good point. Why don't you just buy journals and use that as your tester?
Because you inventory all of our purchases, and so far I requested that about a year ago, and you were like, "Why? Why would you need empty books? We have a lot of books here. It seems dumb." And an unnecessary expense, I believe, is what you had classified it as.
Well, probably. It sounds like an unnecessary expense.
But you just said it was necessary.
You know what?
I am very confused by your logic here. Anyway, I have important matters to deal with, so if that was all, I really do need to be going with my friends here.
Fine. Just fill out the forms next time, and I expect you in my office tomorrow morning with those supplies so I can double check that it was you who took them.
They are, not, individual supplies anymore. So, they're all there. Just give me a list of what you think, and I'll just verify that that was the correct amount.
Ember. I'm debating about whether I should do... Says the non-man. Fine. I'll keep it from
it doesn't wait for me.
Now.
It doesn't wait for you.
He looks at the rest of you and smiles. Have fun with him, and leaves.
You're the only one who doesn't, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I'm having a lot of fun.
So, anyway, back to my workshop. What
is in your workshop?
Projects, mostly. It's easier to explain once...
What did you build with the spellstones and the black powder and whatever else there was?
It's not quite functional yet. It will be amazing, though. It will be. It will revolutionize warfare, I believe. Shh, don't tell anyone else that it's meant for warfare, because they will stop me from researching it.
What is it going to be?
Defiance would have understood the need. Anyway, yes, workshop is in the back. So just try not to breathe on some of these. They're very fragile, which is why the claw thing is a little bit tricky.
Oh, the claw thing crushes books. I thought you said clock. I was very confused why a clock crushes books.
So Embar leads you through the corridors. He leads you, as he stated, as you enter through the front door, you are greeted by a plethora of books in rows and rows and rows and rows of books. There is interspersed with the books is furniture and rugs.
How
and
many books
torches
are
and
there
things.
in here?
You easily see thousands, hundreds of thousands of books.
That was in character.
Neatly categorized.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yes, you're right.
This is amazing.
There's, I believe at last count, it was about 437,656, I believe, at last count. Although some things have been lost in corners and haven't been seen for a while, so who knows if they still exist. That is why I'm creating my automated librarian
Awestruck
to help fix the
Viking.
problems.
The central item, though, as you travel through, you do. He takes you through sort of this long corridor, which leads to some stairs and to some other areas. But you see, the very center is this floating, almost holographic-looking green globe on this pedestal, and it has these light spindles that are spinning in different directions, and it seems, to curiosity, a man of learning, looking at the globe, you definitely see this seems to be an entire map globe of Vechaunus, and on there are there are different sort of areas that are pinged throughout the map. Have a reddish glow, like little red dots dotted on different places on the continents, and you see smaller blue dots, and there's several of those, and they seem to be moving slightly here or there. Some are moving faster than others. Some are moving very tinily, and it does seem to be like a sort of a hexagonal grid overlaid over the entire map.
Ooh,
What
this
is
is very
that?
fancy. What is this?
Yes, it's a globe. Can you not see that it is a globe? You know,
Yeah, but what is where?
Yes,
what's
okay,
it,
I see
what's
that
the lights?
superficially, but what are all these glowing dots?
So the red dots are museums, and the blue dots here are where guild members reside, and what do you call it? Is that all the information, or is the GM's? Yeah. So all the guild members are actually magically marked, so they show up on this map, so we can keep track of everyone, make sure everybody is okay, especially if people are going on historical expeditions. It can get dicey sometimes. Sometimes they only make it back in pieces. Sometimes they don't make it back at all. But most of the time, that's not a problem, because usually they stay in their offices and read books. But we do have exploratory teams that go other places. And also, the map is very useful for recovering bodies when they don't make it back. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, so that is what the map does. Ooh, the map. Ooh, yes, the map. Okay, the map is pretty cool. But not important for what now, okay? Yeah, not important. So, we continue
Not
with the...
important. Panku box is okay. No, what is important?
Workshop. Talking is important. I mean, I already gotten there. So, moving on. Yes, so if you need to look at any area, you can kind of see details on pretty much anything. The archivists like maps and genealogies and history, because with history you can predict the future. Ooh. So yes, this over here is my workshop area. Most people just have stennies. I have a workshop because I actually build things.
I do have a question.
So he leads you.
You said you have genealogies and whatnot stored here?
Oh yes, not everything obviously, but we have quite an extensive collection on most important genealogies, a lot of non-important genealogies, a lot of census data. Really takes some people, we have guild members that spend their entire lives just looking through genealogies. Is there specifics you were looking for?
Oh, I was just wondering if you had the genealogy of what was her name, real quick? Yes, I was wondering if you had the genealogy of Azestra, the Nightmare.
Oh, maybe. I've never looked at the She was one of the Crimson Horse, but I have not studied the genealogies of the figures because I'm not a stalker of personal friends. But I'm sure we might have something. I can put in an inquiry for you. Anyway, once again, not important. It will take, at most, well, if Jelza is not completely incompetent, at most a day or so to locate the texts if they exist.
Alright, then yeah, please.
So he leads you past the map and leads you towards an off room, which it doesn't go up the stairs, but it actually takes you towards a downstairs area. And you walk past a couple of doors before you get to a door which is covered in kind of clockwork gadgetry. And after a few minutes, he seems to enter some kind of code or something, and you hear gears turn and a lock twist, and the door opens up on its own. And he leads you into his workshop.
Right, so, just don't touch anything, please. I would hate to have me now be proven right about my experiments.
What? Right about what?
So you enter the workshop, and as he says, "Don't touch anything," you can see why. There are shelves and shelves and shelves of glassware, vials, small stones, lined up neatly. In fact, most of the things in this room are very neat, very well kept. There's a section and very sectioned out. So you see a section where there is a study section. There's a desk, there's papers, there's writing, all very neatly put away. There's a section which looks like a mini forge. It looks like it's very hot, though somehow he's managed to contain the heat just to that area, as you don't really feel a lot coming towards you. But it is also very neat, very clean. All of his tools are neatly put away, although you do see a cylinder that sounds quite familiar from an earlier conversation, neatly lined up on an anvil and attached to several other bits and pieces. And you see, then you see a section which looks like maybe a dressing area, like a closet. You see like the closet door slightly open, and you see several neatly stacked vests and shirts of different colors put up there. And on top of the dresser are two more top hats in the same style as the top hat he already wears. The only difference is that they have a different color band around them that are for you. As you look between that and the dresser, it looks like he likes to match his hats with his shirt. So his red hat that he's currently wearing, it matches his red shirt, and he likes to have those things match. So his other top hats kind of coordinate with the other shirts in there. But strangely enough, the thing you get the feeling looking around this area, like you get the feeling this is his room. This is where he spends all of his time. You don't see a bed or a place to eat at all as you're looking around. You just see mostly tools and research equipment and a dressing area.
So welcome to my workspace. Please do not touch anything. As has been stated, there is black powder in this room, and if you're not familiar with black powder, it is in fact explosive. If handled incorrectly, I would hate to have to mop up pieces of people. That would be bad.
Yes, that would be bad. Yes,
Anyway, yes, so my name is Embar. Brightspark. It's a pleasure to meet all of you, I think. Well, maybe it's not a pleasure, I met you, so,
Well, it is a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Indeed, such it is. This, by the way, is Curiosity, if you haven't already figured out. I am Erathias Dayspell, and Eri will bow deeply. And this is the rest of our troop, or at least a majority of them. I think we are missing one or two right now.
I'm gonna step forward and I'm gonna be like, and I'm Winter. I put my hand out to him.
shakes it just like really efficiently. Hello. Anyway, yes. So Curiosity, you said your name was.
Yes.
So, are you related to Defiance? Because I have to say, you look very, very much like him.
I do?
Oh yes. Like so much that I actually, as you noticed, I kind of mistook you for him, and it's not because you're glowing, because your friend over there, Harmony. Yes, he look like Defiance. So, yes. So you bear a striking resemblance to him.
Has anyone ever told me that before?
No, but we know that he's your father. So
You do?
yeah.
It's been so long, I don't remember.
I'm confused about that one.
Yes.
Was it father, grandfather?
What, several weeks ago? Several months ago? When was that?
Dude, it's not even in your notes. There's no way it's not in your notes. This is ridiculous.
Dude, that was a major reveal a long time ago.
Yes, it was.
That was part of the whole. That was like tied in with the whole.
I thought he was my grandfather.
No. Destiny is my grandmother, and Defiance is your father.
Okay, yeah, that was a bit confusing there.
So now it's canon that Curiosity is an airhead.
That explains why he didn't remember about the terror
You guys
knight
even remember his own
until
name.
last minute.
He jumps around between topics so much.
No, yeah, Harmony's just
imagine
like,
him
no.
looking-
Harmony's
turning
like,
to Harmony
yeah,
and being like-
Curiosity, do you not remember us having this conversation about how we learned that Defiance was your father? Do you really not remember that? Oh, well, that makes perfect sense. It does seem odd that you would not remember that. Anyway, yes, so I worked closely with your father on a number of projects, both magical and mechanical, because he had a great mind for these sorts of things. We would get lost in our work. He still had to sleep, of course, so I got a lot of work done without him. Although he probably deserves maybe half the credit for most of the stuff we worked on. Maybe. He was brilliant, though, so he usually came up with some solutions for things that I couldn't think of, and also he could do magic, which I cannot, so that was very helpful.
Wait, I was still trying to read my notes. I need to restart this conversation. Because I'm reading right now what I wrote down of Rafi's, gibberish words that he was writing in the sand, which are not even
This is
complete
the problem
sentences,
when
trying to remember what's going on.
The explanation for this is that Curiosity forgot so thoroughly that he was just flabbergasted and speechless. He couldn't
Yeah, but we're
respond.
not restarting the conversation.
Yeah, so he was quite helpful. Unfortunately,
Wait, sorry,
no one
what were you
else that I've
saying? Sorry, I
met.
was sort of zoning out there for a second.
Your father was very helpful with my projects, and so he and I teamed up to create some things to help defeat Oberth the first time. which I guess was successful. I don't know. I didn't talk to him for 14 years after that. Anyway, yes. So currently, I am working on a couple of.
Then you talked to him again after 14 years.
Once. He came by, dropped off a book, was talking about some sort of key to ensuring victory, but it was unclear as to whether or not he meant present tense, past tense, or future tense.
Do you still have
it was very odd. But he was so brilliant, I decided that he did it on purpose, and so I do not inquire. When he tells you things, he tells you things for a reason, and so I just let it be ambiguous, although looking back on it now, I kind of wish that I had asked, because I hadn't seen him since then. It would have been nice to know whether or not I was holding the key to previous victory, or future victory, or made-up fictitious victory. I'm assuming not the latter, because he didn't do anything made-up or fictitious. He was a genius. Anyway, so he told me to hang on to the book and give it to the person who came with Winsome, which is his familiar, which you also have. But I guess that makes a lot of sense if you are his son, that you would have his familiar.
You said, what is Rafi's name? Winsome? Or Winston?
Winsome. I'll type it out.
As in, Winsome does not have a very winsome personality?
Maybe he used to, and you killed it.
More like he wins some of the times.
And it was really brutal and bloody murder, too. You went to town on it.
Anyway.
Okay, we still need a timeout, though. Wait, can we please time out on this conversation? So what about Harmony? What did we learn about Harmony? Was the Jinn that was with them related
Destiny.
to... Okay.
The Jinn is Destiny, and she's my grandmother.
Okay.
Destiny and Defiance are adopted siblings.
Destiny and... Wait, who? What?
Destiny
Your
and
father and
Defiance.
my grandmother were adopted siblings. This is not complicated. Implying thus that Destiny didn't really know the rest of the Jinn.
It's complicated.
Knew the Gloamlings instead, which is how Harmony exists. But we don't know that for sure.
This was literally 4 months ago. This was a long time ago. It's not my fault. I do not remember.
This is why Curiosity's so bad at asking questions, she doesn't actually remember anything that's happened.
This is why notes and reading them.
I have
He has notes, he just doesn't read them.
Well,
I don't read all 63 of my pages.
Anybody can just take them. you gotta read the notes. Anybody can just take them.
It was 4 months ago. I can't remember what was going on. Oh my.
Alright, so are we good? Can we move on now?
I mean, to be fair, I'd be as bad as him if I couldn't just remember these things. So.
Anywho, are we good now?
This is why no one asks questions. I'm operating on all of this knowledge, and you're like, what? He's my dad? What?
I mean, I was operating on that knowledge.
I was like, because I was like, wait, because I remember thinking that he was originally a seeker, but then I remember just now looking back at my notes that his
Your grandfather was a seeker.
And that he wasn't a seeker.
Your grandfather was a seeker.
Yeah, that's what my notes said.
Also, guess what, Curiosity? Guess what?
What?
Rafi, not a real cat. He's a
Okay, yeah, we got that.
Okay, if he forgets,
real cats too.
if he forgets the third time, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna cut the first time a video where he found out. Then I'm gonna cut this part, and then I'm gonna cut that part, and I'm gonna put them next to each other.
It's gonna be like one of those great media compilations where they
So don't forget again.
That'll be our most watched video ever. Kyrath can't remember details about his own character.
Actually, it would be a couple
key details.
Takes the most detailed notes, does not remember the key ones.
That's why I take the notes, so I can remember them.
Well, obviously, it's not working.
That's why we have a compilation
Knew
of
that Thomas
Kyrath's
Giles was a fisherman. Didn't know Defiance was his father.
Only after I looked it up in my notes.
He looked it up.
I didn't have reason to look this up in my notes because I didn't remember about
It's an important
Obviously, if I had
detail, though. This
remembered
isn't
about it,
something
then I
that you
would've-
need only in your notes. This is something you should remember.
Like, this should be put aside into a separate small set of notes.
Super
Where you have
duper
the key
important stuff I should
details.
reread all the time.
It's like a
Under
couple bullet
Curiosity's
points. Defiance is
biography
father.
highlight: Defiance is my dad.
No, that's not true. That's impossible.
Such your feelings.
I've never joined you.
You know it to be.
Speaking of unexpected relatives, so you knew the Crimson Force. Did you also know Nilsooth Twelfeather?
Uh-oh.
Send me the messages.
I'm working on it. Keep going.
Yes, so he told me to give the book, which I believe was his journal of sorts, to whoever had Winsome. Yes, yeah, the fairy, Druid, yeah, he was, a bit annoying. Just a bit. I mean, really, I spent most of my time talking to Defiance because we got each other. It worked pretty well, actually. Developed some cool stuff. But, yeah. Yeah, the fairy, you always had to do the good thing instead of what actually made sense. It just drove me nuts.
I can do cool stuff too. I inspired the entire doc about the importance of family. I'm sure you'll hear about it in a little bit.
Have you invented any magical items?
I can use healing and water arcana.
I'm not
I
asking
have
you
this
to use
healing
magic.
staff.
Did you invent it?
No, I found it.
Well, it's a good thing that I'm going to be giving you his journal. Maybe it'll let you learn some things.
The only magical item I can create is these healing bandages. They only
That's
last for
not-
24 hours though.
No. Anyway, yeah. So since Defiance seemed like it was really important, and he didn't want any of Albert's followers to get their hands on it for some reason because it held the key to victory or whatever. He asked me to hide it because we have a very special place to hide very important things. And I'm gonna need your help to get it back out. So I'm glad you brought friends, because this would have been a lot more difficult without friends.
Why?
Would you care to elaborate?
Right, so underneath this place we have a labyrinth, and we store all of our important texts and items in, and then are kind of too dangerous to let anybody just walk in and take.
You have labyrinths underneath of the museum?
And you were complaining about Nilsooth doing the cool thing
yes,
rather than the
there
thing that
are a
made
lot
sense?
of traps and mazes and things, so you're going to need a guide you through it so you don't die. Because it's really designed to kill anybody who goes inside who doesn't know what they're doing. Luckily, I know what I'm doing. It'll take a couple of hours, though. If you have that much time, you can come back another day. I'm sure the key to victory will wait another day.
No, we have time. I think everybody has time, right? Everybody? Yep. Okay, sounds good. We all have time.
What time of day is it, actually?
That's not important. It doesn't matter. Whatever time.
Oh, we have plenty of time.
Plenty of
I'm just gonna be like, is it gonna take less than like 6 hours?
It's about like noon to 1.
Yeah, is it gonna take like less than 6 hours? Because I've got a meeting I've got to get to, and also we should get Gorm at least.
We should also see about pulling Daphne in here as well. She was supposed to at least aid us to gain entrance into this facility.
Yeah, well,
but,
we kind of need someone still guarding the bar, though.
Is nobody else confused that there is a killer labyrinth underneath of here? Or such a
You're
normal
not
to
the
everybody
only one.
else?
What?
That
It's
doesn't
so
you're not
hard
the
to
only one.
understand.
Doesn't seem like
Some
most-
texts are too important to allow into enemy hands. And so we have traps and specters and monsters to protect them.
You were just talking about how boring books are, though. So.
I said some of the books are boring. I'm not saying all the books are boring. It's a lot harder to get to the interesting books.
It sounds that way.
So you put them in a death maze.
Oh, and yeah, it's gonna take like at least a day. Now, if you have a meeting later tonight, I would suggest not attempting a, because we probably will not get back in time for your meeting. So unless it's something you would like to blow off, which, I mean, who doesn't like to blow off meetings? I know that they're usually pointless and don't accomplish anything. It's one of those meetings, I would, let's just go. But if it's one of those, like, rare 1% of meetings that's actually important to actually decide
It might
something.
be. Yeah, it seems like it would. Yeah.
Well, I guess, I'll just be working on my projects then. So you can go to your meeting. I'll be here tomorrow.
It's gonna take
You should be able
a day.
to. Yeah, you gotta go in carefully so you don't trigger any of the traps,
It's underground?
That would be the
This is like
that is
all
that is
bad
what the
things.
definition of a labyrinth is. I do not confused by the question.
It's definition
It
of death.
is?
So.
Right. So here's he digs through his drawers.
Curiosity pulls up Google. What is the definition of a
You're gonna
Curiosity's books, encyclopedia, Google.
you're going to need
400,000 books in here. There must be some more where they have the definition.
You're going to need a guild token to get back in without having to go through dealing with Jill's incompetence. I do apologize for her nonsense. She should be able to recognize as important a figure as you. But nevertheless, we cannot all know all the secrets, and she knows none of the secrets because nobody trusts her with any of the secrets.
Why is she
So
stuck
I will,
at the front gate?
I'll just be here, so when you come back, I don't really sleep or anything, so whenever you decide to come back, I'll be here. I would suggest doing it sooner rather than later. You don't know when the future's gonna show up and be like, hey, did you do that super important thing you were supposed to? Be like, no, I didn't do it. I was supposed to do it yesterday. I just decided to sit on the beach instead. Well, I don't really have that problem. But I've noticed other people do, so don't do that. Be here soon.
We shall try not to procrastinate. Thank you very much.
Alright, I suppose I should escort you out, otherwise the members will be like, you let these guests walk in unattended, what's wrong with you? And I'd be like, oh yes, they're going to steal all of our books. Right, and that's going to be totally inconspicuous. Right, do they have a magic item that lets them store? I mean, I guess you could have a magic item that lets you store everything. Yeah, it's highly unlikely. Anyway, yes, so I'll escort you back out. So when you enter in, someone will probably escort you back to my room, or they'll call me and be like, hey, people that were just let in and we didn't vet, and I'm probably getting it. You know what? I can just deal with it later. I'm sure that the bureaucratic nonsense is so efficient that it will be resolved by the time you get back. Anyway, if you have the guild token, it doesn't matter.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Alright. Escorting you through, locks the door behind you all as he leaves his workshop.
Continue the story before he locks out. I would have asked Emler if he could look up genealogy or ancestry history about my mother, and maybe something about elvish rings.
Okay, so elvish rings, something, and
her name is Aubrey Elsa.
Right, that one I'm not so sure we're gonna have. Who knows though? I'll do my best. Well, Jill's will do her best, which is really like my 30%, for being honest, but I have other projects I need to deal with. And if my system, if they would ever let my automated librarian system go, I could search this up for you in like 3 seconds. Oh no, we have to just organize by section instead of by decimal system. We can't have automation do it because you'll destroy the tomes. Traditions are stupid. Most of the time.
Well,
Anyway.
one would think that in a museum, not destroying the and organizing them efficiently So maybe we should fix the bugs with the destruction, and then it will be implemented.
Wait, I just had a brilliant idea. I must go. Replacing the claw with a different system will be more expensive, but way less destructive. I need to go write this down before I forget. Okay, quick. You want the interest? I'm gonna forget this before. I need to. This is gonna revolutionize the archives. You have no idea how much time we wait looking for books. This is going to be amazing.
I was going to.
So he just ushers you out like shoo. Like I just had a brainstorm. Just go do the things.
I was wondering why he wouldn't have just suggested using a lever instead of a claw. It would have been easier, at least. But oh well.
Embar shoves you all out of the door very quickly, and as soon as he gets the last one of you out, you hear that the same cogging, turning sounds. Although you also because you can see the lock, you see a giant bar clang into the locked door, seal tightly, and then a couple other gears on the top of the door seem to grind to a halt and stop. It becomes very clear to you that this door will not be reopened unless Embar wishes to reopen it.
Well,
That was fun.
I'm just imagining we all come back and he forgets about it because he's so engrossed in the new mechanism.
It's possible. Well then, it appears we have quite a task ahead of us. How many you said you had a meeting to go to later?
Yeah, the meeting with Chris. Chris is his name. Chris, the second in command of the Floating Hand Gang, sent me that wanted to meet in secret.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's not a trap, but it could be a trap, so I'm gonna need Linda to come with me on that one.
Understandable.
Suppose while we're doing that, you guys could go to that the other place to find information on the seer. Yeah, you guys could go do that while Vinda and I go meeting.
Are you sure that you're going to be alright?
We'll be fine. Vinda can just teleport us out, right? Right, Vinda? You're going to teleport us out if there's problems?
What time is your meeting at?
Yeah.
At nightfall?
It was nightfall, right, Sari?
Someone has the note.
Uh-oh.
I believe Curiosity has the note because I handed it to him to read.
It's in his Discord messages.
Discord messages? That's not...
Well, that's how I sent it to you.
Yeah.
Kyrath, you're failing on the notes front. This is your
I
strength.
totally... Okay, yeah, good point. I should just search my notes.
I haven't sent you that much on Discord. It should be really easy to find.
Maybe if you had copied it and pasted
Yeah,
it
it's
into
the
the notes.
first. It is the
I probably
first
copy and pasted
message
it.
I
No,
sent
I'm
to
just
you.
looking.
Just look at our private messages. It's the very first message. It's the last message at the bottom. It's the last thing I typed to you.
Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh.
What do you mean?
I quit. I'm playing multiple characters and NPCs, and I quit.
Okay, well, I already have it
Oh,
up,
it
so I'll
says
just
at
read it
night.
out.
It's at night. Okay, it says at night.
Where am I supposed to be meeting him? Can we just clarify the location?
In an alley by the apothecary house.
Cool, so I'm going to spend the rest of the day in the floating market just looking for the apothecary. So I'm just going to be strolling around.
Oh, I know where that is.
I'm going to be passing out
Here we go. I did copy and paste it into my note.
the fruit to the children.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh,
Okay,
that could
so
be useful.
okay, so you. Okay, so we're gonna take a break real quick here. So let me just know where everyone is going. Curiosity or Harmony is going back to the floating market to become the fruit man. What's everyone else doing? Looks like Bramble is going fishing.
I believe everyone else was heading towards, or at least going to check out the seer, but I'm not 100% certain. But I think that's where we're where it was suggested that
Okay.
we go.
Are you going to the seer? Because she's outside the city.
No, we're going
No,
to the
they're going-
Cathedral of Tears.
Oh,
Talk
yeah,
to
to
the
the Cathedral of Tears.
Aquanaeans about the seer.
Equinian.
You should know this because technically speaking, you're also an
I am.
Aquanian.
But you just
Okay,
said
so you're going to-
Aquanian. You said Aquanaean last time. See, this is why I can't pronounce it properly. Aquanian or Aquanaean?
It's actually a Quinian. Quinian is.
Equinian.
That's what I
Aquanian.
said. I can't remember.
It's the
Aquinone.
Aquanian people. The Aquanian followers.
Okay.
Okay, yeah,
So look at,
then we're going there.
okay. So Bramble's going fishing, Garmin's drinking, Harmony is the fruit man, and everyone else is
With
going
Vinda.
to the Cathedral
No,
of Tears.
Vinda's being fruit man with me because, well, she's being
Right.
bird,
Okay.
being the little birdie.
Okay, we're gonna take a break while I diagram these groups and come up with things for them all to do. We'll take our 10-minute break
They're
here.
going to just kind of get the feel of everything.
Didn't you need the Dwarf Paladin for the cathedral?
No, that was for the
I mean-
Tarthon.
That was for the archivists. But,
Oh, I see. I got those mixed up.
but we just happened to be recognized by a guy who was an archivist, so convenient that is.
That's what I was about to say.
Did you ever get Rafi back, by the way?
Rafi stayed.
Yeah, Rafi
Okay.
should be on his
What
shoulder.
Did
And
someone abduct him?
with that, Twitch, we'll go ahead and give us like 10 minutes or so, and we should be right back into the insanity of it all. See if we can't figure out how to blow up something tonight. Anyways, we'll be right back in about like 10 minutes, give or take.